guys, it's Naseem here. Now today I want to be giving you guys a very special look at the iPhone 14 Pro. Now the iPhone 14 Pro is a phone that has changed in some major ways when you compare it to last year's iPhone 13 Pro. It has a perfectly sized 6.1-inch display that offers an amazing visual experience along with some new features. It has the brand new iOS 16 that is well integrated within the device. It has the new A16 Bionic chip that can handle any game or any power heavy app that you throw at it. And it has a much better camera that includes a wide set of new functions. And I think that overall, this is the biggest upgrade that Apple has made in years. Not only does it look more aesthetically pleasing, but it also has improved the user experience that makes it arguably the best phone in its category. But before I give you guys my first impressions and my final thoughts on what I think about the 14 Pro, the first thing that I have to do is unbox it. Now the first thing that I noticed when I was unboxing the Pro Max was that unlike every other iPhone's previous Pro versions, you have that very clean white aesthetic that makes the experience feel similar to regular iPhones. On the front, we can see a picture of the iPhone that basically shows which color version you have. On the right side of the box, there's the iPhone wording. On the left side, we again have the name of the phone. On the top and bottom, we have the Apple logos. And on the back, we have all of the additional info about your purchase. Now the first thing that we see when we take off the box is the 14 Pro itself, and I will say that it has that same perfect size to it along with a pretty nice feel. On the back we have the same matte finish that is very similar to the 13 Pro, and we also have that glossy Apple logo with the stainless steel. We also have the same style camera bumps that pretty much look the same. You have the main, telephoto, and ultra wide camera, and I will be showing some pictures later on in the video. Now on the right side of the phone we have our power button along with the 5G antenna. On the top we have nothing. On the left side, we do not have a SIM ejection port, but we do have the volume rockers and mute switch. And last but not least, on the bottom, we have our lightning port, mics, and speakers. And when we look at the screen, we can see the 6.1-inch display that has much more screen real estate when compared to the iPhone 13 Pro. And the most noticeable thing about the display is the new pill-shaped front-facing camera that Apple calls Dynamic Island, but we're going to get more into the features later on in the video. And now the last things that we have in the box of the 14 Pro Max is our starter guide, the Lightning to USB-C cable, and again, there's no charger in the box. Now the iPhone 14 Pro has 4 different colors in its catalog, starting with the colorful deep purple, gold, and for the more uniform colors, there's silver and the new space black. And the version that I have is deep purple. And as you can see, it looks really good. The colorful aspect along with the color coordinated rails give it a good amount of color. I really admired that there were different shades with different materials. Even when looking at it in the sun, we can see that it still looks very premium while also giving off a nice clean look that I think many people will enjoy. I again really loved how it had the shiny sides that were the same color and continued that clean colorful aesthetic of the phone. And just like the 14 Pro Max, the only thing that I wish Apple could have done was keep the matte back aesthetic going, because just like the previous years, they put the stainless steel on the sides, which means that if you use your phone without a case, you'll get a ton of fingerprints on it just from touching it once. Now the iPhone 14 Pro has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display that I will say was really amazing based off my first impression. It was vibrant, the quality was good, and it did good, so I was pretty satisfied with the outcome. Now before I start, the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to the screen is the Dynamic Island feature with the pill style notch. Now the reason that Apple has named the cutout in the front Dynamic Island is because they basically included the iOS 16 UI to make sure that your phone uses the pill to its advantage. Like for example, whenever you receive or answer a call, you can not only see who's calling you, but once you pick up the call, you can see all the details that go with that call. Also, it gives you extra details on so many apps, like whenever I turn on Do Not Disturb, whenever I'm recording audio, using Face ID to unlock my phone, playing and interacting with Apple Music, using the Apple Maps app for directions, or even whenever I'm connecting my AirPods or any Bluetooth device. There's a lot of things that the Dynamic Island can do that'll make your display experience not only more aesthetically pleasing, but also much easier. Another benefit to having the pill cutout is the fact that Apple has made the screen 23% bigger, so no matter what you're doing on your phone, the display will look bigger and you'll be able to see more. Now the next thing that I loved about the 14 Pro's display was the fact that Apple has finally decided to include the always on display. So if you're someone who likes to take a peek at your phone to check the time or notifications without having to actually touch it, you now have the option to turn it on. The 14 Pro's display also has ProMotion, which means that you'll have a 120Hz refresh rate within the display. So basically, whenever you're scrolling through your phone, it'll feel much smoother than the iPhone 14 and 14 Max, since both of those phones are 60Hz. I again really like the fact that the size was perfect, but still has smaller bezels to give a slightly better visual experience. It wasn't too big and it wasn't too small, so I really liked how it felt. The display was really responsive out of the gate. Everything that I clicked on moved and responded very quickly, and I would say that overall, it still pretty much feels the exact same as the 13 Pro, but again, that's a really good thing. The iPhone 14 Pro will also have iOS 16, which gives you so much more things to do with your phone, like the ability to unsend text, the ability to have much more customization with your home screen, and even the ability to make a PNG out of any subject in video. And now when it comes to build quality on the 14 Pro, I would say that when compared to other phones in this price range, it was one of, if not the most premium builds in the market. Again, I really like the matte back for the premium feel, but like I said before, the stainless steel sides will give you a lot of fingerprints, so if you're like me and don't like it, you can just use a case. But besides that, the front of the Pro has a ceramic shield screen and the back has a matte glass back, which means that in most cases, if you do drop it a few times, then you'll most likely won't break it, which is really good news for people who drop their phones a lot. Now, when it comes to physicality, the iPhone 14 Pro has a height of 5.81 inches, a width of 2.81 inches, and it weighs about 206 grams, which is pretty average when compared to other phones in the lineup. And right here, you can see how well it fits into my hands. It's really perfect if you have big hands like me. Even if your hands are smaller, it's much more manageable than the 14 Pro Max, and you'll still be able to reach your fingers to the top of the screen. Even when you put it in your pockets, it'll be like the average phone, and if I'm being honest, it's a size that I think most people will be comfortable with. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro has a brand new 48 megapixel main camera, along with two 12 megapixel ultra wide and telephoto cameras, and I was really excited for the camera aspect because if you guys didn't know, Apple has been using that same 12 megapixels with the main camera for about 10 years now, and it's really refreshing to see a massive spec bump. And when we look at the daytime outside photos, we can see that it looks really good, just like the 13 Pro. And whenever I use Pro RAW, things were much sharper thanks to the 48 megapixels. The selfie camera was pretty much the same as last year, and just like the 14 Pro Max, my selfies look good, especially when the lighting was right, and I didn't experience any yellowing like on previous models. And now when we look at the daytime inside photos, I was again very happy that there wasn't any yellowing, and whenever the lighting was or wasn't good, the photos still came out nice. I also wanted to give you guys an example of how the phone records video before I gather my final thoughts about it in my final review. And when we look at additional specs on the 14 Pro, it has the new A16 Bionic chip. It has storage starting from 128 gigs that goes up to 1 terabyte of storage. It has a 3200 milliamp hour battery that supports 20 watt fast charging. And there it is, you guys, my review on the iPhone 14 Pro. Now stay tuned for more because I will be giving a weekly update on the Pro where I will be going into more detail with how it holds up. But let me know down in the comments, do you guys think that I should do a day in the life on the iPhone 14 Pro? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I would like to say thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It will be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.